Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Zoom was Zoom kept telling me that I didn't have any um, audio, so obviously I'm checking with you. I didn't. I had to quit out of it a couple times and then log back in to get it running. So when in doubt, that's always a good first trial for those of you that are troubleshooting everything. Quit, log out of your browser, log out of your computer, log back in, and sometimes miraculous things can happen. All right, so this week, first thing I want to do is check and see if anyone has any questions held over from last week or anything that you have questions about for this week coming up if you've happened to look at anything.
I don't have anything.
Okay, good. I will have your stuff graded tonight. The copyright one takes me forever to get through because I've everybody's 10 artifacts to check copyright on. Ever after that one, everything seems to grade a lot faster. But I will try and have that finished tonight then. I'm just running a little bit behind on it. So I do want to apologize for that. The course has 3 meetings. This is the second meeting. If you have attended this one, you've met your obligation for that. You are welcome to come to the last one. I always like to see people's faces and talk to you, but you're not required to come to anything beyond this one then. So I do want to make sure you know that. It's really interesting that this week is our week on video because this Zoom interface is a really great video tool. So the first thing I want to do is show you a few things about that in case you've never used Zoom before. So you can see some of the ways that it is really beneficial, especially for this unit. Have any of you ever used Zoom before?
No.
No.
Okay. A couple of you, one of you, 2 of you maybe? Yeah. Okay. So Zoom is a free product. You get 40 minutes for free. I have a 40-minute meeting tonight, and then I'll have to log back out and hop back in for office hours. You get 40 minutes for free. We have a purchased account through the university that gives you unlimited meetings with unlimited number of people. However, they didn't give me the new password. So we're on a 40-minute class tonight. You won't have anything longer than that because it'll kick us out. So with that being said, Zoom is free with as many people as you want for 40 minutes, or you can have one-to-one conversation with someone as long as you want with this without having any cutoffs. So as a free product, it's very nice. I think it is more stable when I've been using it than Google Hangouts. And it's also easier to record, I think, than Google Hangouts is. Skype has a couple benefits in that you can send like documents through the chat and things like that that you aren't able to do with Zoom. But the stability that I've found with this, I mean, we've had meetings with 25 people on all at one time across the world for 2 or 3 hours, and it has worked pretty well. So this is a really great platform for that. And like I said, it is free for the 40 minutes with anybody or as long as you want. The other thing about it that's really nice is that you can record this with people. So if you were having class and you have a student that is out on, homebound is what we used to call it where I was working in the high school, where they're going to be out for, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, maybe they have mono or had surgery or something like that, and you wanted to be able to bring them into the classroom, you could use this tool. You could also record your lessons with it and then have it available for them. It's a nice stable platform. It will run in the background while you do anything else on the computer you need to do. So for video production, this is something that's a really great tool for that. So you can record conversations or interviews with people or just a class. You can also set it up when you're by yourself and use it as a screencasting tool, either to talk like this and give you, just a little bit of a lecture, or for those of you that don't know how this works because you haven't used it, you can use this share screen on the bottom. If any of you can see that, there's a little, on mine, it's a green folder, like a little box, and an arrow up. And it allows you to share to a whiteboard. You can use AirPlay with your phone or with a cable. You can do things like this where you can do, whoops, that's a bumpy heart. I'm not a very good writer online because I use a Mac, and so I have a trackpad that's not great. Okay, you can put text on here. You can highlight, select, all those kind of things. Use a spotlight. I like this one a lot when I'm trying to show somebody how to do a tutorial. I can show them how to work with this. Then you can clear it or you can save it. I don't know if it'll show you the save button on here. You can save it or you can do clear, and it'll take all the drawing and clear other people. The other thing you can do with this is I can give somebody remote control. Up at the top, I could say, okay, Lauren, you're at the top of my list here. I'm going to give you control. You have control. So if you touch the screen, yes. So she is now going to format or erase or something. You probably have to go to eraser and click on it. And then she could erase or she could write on this. So you can pass the control around with other people within your group that you're doing this with. So this is one way that you can do like presentations with a group of people that you're able to, presentations that you're able to share with people, your whole screen. You're allowing them to move around. They can, forward the PowerPoint together with it still showing up. So, and then I can fight with her over it, and I can stop the sharing and kick her out.
I couldn't find the controls. That's why I tried.
All you can do is use your trackpad with it. Once you mean the control to do that?
Yeah, well, I didn't know how to actually write something.
Oh, okay. So whenever you go back to that, when you go back to this, if I were to give you the control again, I go up to the very top and I say give control to Lauren. Now you have control of it. Do you see the toolbar that's on the screen right now or no?
No. I think I can only do
what I had highlighted?
Yes, because
okay.
Now I can write too, guys. There we go.
Right.
Oh.
I think that was my fault. I brushed my finger across. I think if you go up to the top where it says whiteboard, it may give you the option to have the little toolbar. Because as it is right now, I have a toolbar that says text, draw, spotlight, and you guys can all play with that in another time. But it's always a weird sensation to try and do something on somebody else's computer.
Oh, there, I found it. I did click annotate, and then it popped up.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so I can clear this, clear all the drawing. I could just clear mine. I could clear hers. You could have a graph and have different students try to do it and keep clearing theirs and having them redo it until you get to the next one, if that's something that you would be doing in your class. All right, so there's sharing to the whiteboard. We can also share just to my screen here. And remember, this is recording all of it, and I could do the same thing with this page. I could share the screen to somebody else. I could annotate on it. I can give remote control over so somebody can manipulate my computer. All of this can happen through Zoom. Okay. So there's that. So think about this. You're trying to do a screencast for your little lesson that you're doing this week, which is 2 to 4 minutes. If you're a little over 4, I'm not going to kill you on it. I'm not going to dock you points. And by a little, I mean like 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. The reason that there's a time limit on it is I have 24 people in the class or 23 people in the class, and I had not put a time limit on it. And the first time I did it, there was like somewhere between like 7 minutes and 19-minute long videos for everybody. And that was a little too much. Best practices for video with students is approximately their age. So if they're 5 years old, their video should not be longer than 5 minutes. Half that's probably better. As a whole, going to 7 minutes is about all the time that you're going to get with someone before they start to lose track of what you're doing and how you're working with it, unless you're interacting with them directly. So having them watch a 15-minute video is probably going to get 7 minutes of watching it and about 8 minutes of trying to get through it and not really paying attention. So chopping it into pieces is a really good idea, doing small pieces of instruction and also wrapping some instruction around it. So for example, if I wanted you to watch this video of our class tonight, I would say, tonight we really talked about how to use Zoom as a video capture tool. Please watch, the first 3 minutes of class here and really look at how people were using the tools on the screen. And that would give you some direction on what you were trying to do. You could also phrase it, if you have a biology lesson, you could say, in this video, they're going to talk about genetics. Really pay attention to the Punnett squares and how they're building these squares, because you're going to be using this in our project, in our lesson, however you want to do it. So telling them what they need to find out of it is a lot better than just giving them a video and saying, hey, go for it. Especially with younger students, giving them some targeted direction is really good. So there's that. The video for this, you're able to record, like I said, record off of it. You can use the screen capture. You can also show a PowerPoint or some other piece of media or some worksheet on your screen, any of these kind of things, and share, capture your desktop by sharing the screen on your desktop, and it can show whatever happens to be on there. This also will allow you to have your face in the upper corner so they can see you talking while they're working through it, which is another one of the design principles. So with that said, I really like Zoom as a tool for these kind of things, especially since it's free. But there's a lot of other products you can do this with. If you're a Mac person and you have QuickTime on your computer, you can do screencasts with QuickTime by capturing your screen or the whole desktop. You can use Screencastify. You can use other products that cost money. But for my class, please do not buy anything that you would not be purchasing on your own without the class for me. I try to show you all the free stuff because I know from personal experience that your school district is, for those of you that are in school districts, your school district is probably not going to buy you anything. And if they do, it'll be like one copy for one trial period, and then you'll never be able to use it with your students. So by giving you these free resources, even if they're not quite as high a quality as, for example, purchasing Camtasia for something like this, it's much more doable for you as a teacher and as a professional like that in a kind of a training environment even, if you're not have your company purchasing materials for you like that. Any questions? Okay, so since you didn't really have any questions on anything, and this week you're just looking, evaluating a video, looking through a few resources, and then creating a short instructional video, if there's any questions, you can always email me and we can talk. I can set up a Zoom link, or we can just email back and forth, or whatever we need to do. I try to be pretty quick about responding, even if it's to say, I'm on my phone, I can't look now, I will check later. If you go 24 hours without me getting back to you, please email me again. I will not be upset about it, but I don't want you going 24 hours without telling me that I didn't answer you back, okay? It gets lost in my email, or it shows up in my spam box, not by any fault of yours, but because of the filter that they have on for the school. So, that's something I do want you to kind of keep an eye out for. If you've emailed me and I haven't gotten back to you, email me again, because it might have went in there. And I do check it pretty regularly because I noticed that Gmail gets shuffled to that a lot. All right, so with that, this week you're also talking about creativity with your video. And your video that you're making for a class could be your teaching moment, an instructional video. It could also be what you're using as an example for students to create as a part of their work experience. So if they're doing a project and part of their expectation for that is that they create a video artifact as a way to demonstrate their knowledge, demonstrate their understanding of the content that you've been talking about or you've been working with, you can do me a sample video. This is something I would show to my students to say, this is what I want you to do. So that's fine as well as an option for that. And if you have other ideas, you have things that you want to do in your classroom and you think that by tweaking the assignment a little bit here or there, you can let me know. As long as it holds to the spirit of the assignment and I can still get the same things out of it, I'm willing to look at other options that I just haven't had the ability to think of yet for what these assignments could be. And that works the whole way through the class. So I'm always willing to bounce ideas or answer questions if you think you might want to do something else. The other piece of the lesson this week is I always try to do two things, a main tech thing that you're going to be looking at with the multimedia or instructional design, and then also a sidebar, like a way that these pieces can work with your classroom to provide a deeper learning experience or to facilitate some instruction or to help you out as a teacher or to really prompt your kids to do some really great things, those of you that are in K-12 or training environment, either one. And this week I want to do a look at creativity. How many of you have seen Sir Ken Robinson's little speech at the TED Talk on creativity?
I have.
Most of you?
No.
Yeah. I think by looking at your faces, most of you have seen it now. I know it's a little bit old, but it's still really inspiring to me on how he thinks about how education now is kind of sucking the life out of the kids, if you want to put it very dramatically. And I do have to agree that a lot of the very heavily tested subjects, I feel really bad for the students that are in there because, in 8th grade, they're testing for the rest of their life in some states. If you take algebra in some states, like I'm from Pennsylvania, so in Pennsylvania you take algebra in 8th grade. 8th grade, your test score determines if you're going to graduate or not. So that's a little bit of pressure on those students, and it also makes it not as much fun since you have to really be concentrating on the content. But there are ways that you can kind of work around and allow students some creativity or some choice, freedom within your classroom constraints that can allow you to give them some creativity, but still conform to the objectives that you have to meet, the structure of your class that you have to keep, and those kind of things. So I want to ask you guys, how are ways that you install creativity in your classroom, either from your standpoint or from the student standpoint? Hey, I taught high school. I have wait time. Go ahead. I just talked over someone. Go ahead. All right, who wants to talk?
I can go.
Okay, Christopher, you go first.
So this year, my teaching partner and we implemented Genius Hour on Friday for an hour. Well, actually, it was 2 hours, and then it was kind of intense. So we're like, why don't we just do an hour? But that's really cool because all my kids get to create like different things. Last week, we had a kid who had this 3-foot tall catapult that he made, and so he shot that off, and it went like the tennis ball went across the playground, which was really cool. I don't know, it's really fun to see what they can come up with, and then how we can relate it back to class things.
Have all of you heard of Genius Hours? Okay, it looks like everybody has. Okay. Danielle said she also uses Genius Hour with her students. That's actually my honors, like freshman honors introductory class. They asked for proposals. That's my proposal. Since I have a makerspace on campus that supports middle school science, and it also supports the students in the education. My actual proposal is on a Genius Hour for them, and partnering with some of the support structures in town, like the homeless shelter and the food pantry and those kind of things, to find solutions for them. So I love that idea. That's a great way to bring creativity into your classroom. Maker spaces as a whole, even if you have just a mini one, or tell the kids they can bring all kinds of recyclables to class to have a make day for something. It's really good for the 100th day of school, and it's also really great for Earth Day as ways to incorporate it. If people are having issues with it, incorporating things like that into your curriculum, sometimes you can get around it by saying, this is our Earth Day activity. Or, this is our 100th day of school. We're going to try and count 100 whatevers, something like that. So anybody else have ways that you put some creativity into your classroom?
My class is never, it's an ongoing creative kind of a place. I teach second graders. So they are constantly doing something creative, be it drawing, or we do a lot of it with our writing, I think. Just we write a piece and then they get to be creative with it. And we use Google Classroom here and there when we try to, or teaching them how to use it. But it's hard to do with second grade. So we've kind of got exactly just enough time to get, the core stuff in. So we try to squeeze what we can in the time allotted.
Yeah. I see people shaking your heads. Somebody else have experiences similar?
I do a little bit of it with my IB students, but with my honors kids, we're so constrained by the state standards. I don't have a lot of time. I try to do a little bit, but I have to get everything in for the state test.
It's hard.
Does anybody else want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I can't believe, I don't know, like second graders, it's amazing fourth graders, what they can accomplish. So when it comes to like lower grades, like kindergarten, and because I know Hillary, you teach kindergarten, right? Yeah, when it comes to kindergarten and I'm talking to those kindergarten teachers, I don't know how they even, I don't know. We help them a lot with our fourth graders, and I'm glad that we can, but that would be difficult.
I know for my grade, at least, I teach DK, so it's developmental kindergarten. So I work on the skills to get them ready to go to kindergarten. So like they don't do any standardized tests in my classroom, but teaching them how to use a mouse or a keyboard for the standardized test like helps that much difference in NWA. Like I get to look at my old kids' scores to see where they are compared to incoming kindergarten is like amazing. They're like that year with you learning how to hold the mouse is amazing because they all think it's touch screen, which is kind of crazy.
Yes. Even in second grade, we still battle that. They're all like wanting to tap the screen. You're like, no, you have to use the mouse. And we do a lot on Chromebooks. And so getting them to be able to maneuver the little keypad mouse and doing 2-finger clicks and, 7 and 8-year-olds, it's a challenge.
Absolutely. We just got Chromebooks, so that's a new thing that we're starting this year. So it's been
glad because you won't have to worry about anybody saving anything to the hard drive.
Yes.
I'm thankful for all of you. I'm in 7th grade. By 7th grade, they can all use the mouse.
Yeah.
And we use iPads, so I like being able to just click, and then they just have the keyboards that they can attach, which is nice. So it's like you get the click plus the keyboard, and it's perfect.
I always had old kids. I had 9th through 12th for the most part. So yeah, by the time they got me, they knew how to go to the bathroom, how to wear their pants. I substituted kindergarten for 6 weeks when I first started.
No.
I applaud early childhood teachers because I was crazy by the time I got out of there. Yeah.
I lose track of how many pairs of shoes I have to tie a day.
Same.
Yep, I bet.
Invest in Velcro for your little
but unfortunately, in my grade, though, they've outgrown the Velcro and they need to be learning how to tie shoes. So,
And we thank you for that in 4th grade.
There's an awesome YouTube video, though, showing how to tie shoes. So for you, DK, it's a different, unique way of tying it. I'll have to find it and post it. Well, you actually tuck the aglets into one of the holes, and then you use those as like single strings, and you tie them twice.
Oh, okay.
And it works really, really good. I taught my daughter how to do it. She's only 6, and she's picked it up really fast. So I'm going to play it for all of my students in class. That way, at least by 3rd grade, they should know how to do it.
Awesome. So to keep class moving, I love discussion. So if I wasn't short on time tonight, because I don't have the login for the good one, we only have 9 minutes left, and I want to make sure we talk about one more thing, and then we can talk about anything you guys want. How do you assess creativity? Think about that. What are ways that you can assess creativity or build creativity into your assessment?
I think when we do Genius Hour, we also use Right Steps, which has like an online version, and they talk about like glows and grows. So the glows is like, what someone does well, and what the grows is what they can do better for next time. Yes. So with Genius Hour, I don't like to grade it, but we do have like the other kids that watch evaluate the other people's that they're watching, so they write out like what they think they can do better for next time to improve like their presentation or project.
Yeah, so like some formative feedback for them before they have to get graded in your class on something else. Go ahead and keep talking. I've got to get my plug because for some reason my computer went from 20% to 5 and it's going to die. So keep talking. I'm going to get my plug. I'll be listening while I do that.
We can't assess for creativity. We have strict like a grading scale that our report cards, and to be able to put that in there, we couldn't do it.
I'm going to give you some ideas on how you can build creativity into your assessments, even if you can't grade it on there because of that. Anybody else have ideas? Okay, so one of the ways that I've seen people allow for creativity in their assessment is to make all of the all the requirements, like you have to use 3 paragraphs, and your paragraphs have to have 5 sentences, and every sentence has to have a subject and a verb, and things like that. Those equal 95%, or they equal like 23 points on the rubric, or however they want to work that out. And the last 5%, the last 2%, that is going above and beyond. That is showing creativity. That is going beyond. So like you could have a kid who has, a writing project like that, and maybe they write it really neatly and include an illustration, or maybe they add 2 more paragraphs on to really flesh out their story that's extra, goes above and beyond that. Because a lot of times, a lot of the work that we're doing right now tends to be, with all the requirements, very formalized on what we have to grade on and what there is there. And the students know, if I hit everything on the rubric, I get 100%, and that's all I am doing. And they don't want to go above and beyond. So by allowing that little extra, even 2%, or allowing that little extra 1 point, it allows them some room to grow, as you were saying, and to add to things. So whenever they're doing, a poster, maybe they go above and beyond and really do a fantastic picture on here. And you can always kind of differentiate that by, you have a kid that's really creative and they do a really nice drawing, but they do really nice drawings all the time. That's creativity. However, the kid that struggles to even draw a straight line or a circle, and they add something to it that's in addition to what you were actually expected, you can always give them the points for that and kind of let that be a little bit of flexibility within your grading. The other way that you can add some allow some fostering of creativity in your class is to give them choices. So if it doesn't matter to you if they write a story, or you're grading it on the content that they know about biology, for example. If they write a paragraph about that, or if they were able to verbally say that to you or sing it to you, all these other choices. I mean, we used to talk about multiple intelligences, and multiple intelligence, by the way, is kind of falling off of the research spectrum, in that everybody has different strengths that they have, but they don't like to see you formalized in like, I'm a verbal person, so therefore all I do is verbal. They want you to look at it, balancing out all the areas that you're working in with the students. So, but just to get off of that, allowing students some choice. I've seen people do it as a tic-tac-toe board, where they have different ways that you can present assignments. You can turn in a 2-page paper. You can do a poster that has all the information on it. You can do an interactive poster that has like windows and things like that. You could write a poem that has all the content. You would be amazed at how many really good science, chemistry, stoichiometry poems I've gotten over the past probably 10 years that I've been doing, or I was allowing the students to do this before I came to the university here. Kids that really don't want to give you any kind of information whatsoever, especially middle school, I found. A lot of them, with the video being so prevalent now, kids do their little YouTube videos all the time. A lot of them will tell you things, like using Flipgrid. They'll tell you an answer. They'll describe it in great detail. They would write down 3 words. The lesson was, I've seen this like video reflections at the end of the day. You ask the kids to reflect on a piece of paper what they learned. The lab was nice. My partner didn't do very well. We stunk. Instead of saying, so tell me about how your lab went today. Talk about these 3 things. And they'll sit there and they will give you a full 5 minutes of, the lab really didn't do well today. My partner was really in a hurry. They spilt the stuff. We lost some, stuff over here. We had these problems with it. We really could do better next time by being more careful. And they'll give you a really detailed response a lot of times when they don't have to write it down, which doesn't help you with grading skills. But talking about content knowledge, looking at different ways to assess it and giving them choices in that. Do they want you to write it? Do they want to write a paper? Do they want to tell you it like this? Do they want to write a poem? Do they want to write a song and perform it in front of the class? That takes a little time, but allowing them that expression of creativity can sometimes really pull students that you didn't think were going to really contribute to your class whatsoever. It allows them to play to what they consider their strengths, and sometimes that little bit is all you need to have them buy in what you're doing and really start to contribute. Thoughts on that?
I'm just thinking of the songs I would get.
Second grade, they'd probably be a lot about farts and poop, but I mean, that goes along with health class.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use Flipgrid in my classroom for book reviews, so they can do a book review and then be able to watch about a book and then possibly pick that book up if they think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Does Flipgrid work with Google?
Flipgrid was just a web-based anything. If you have a browser, you've got Flipgrid. You can even do video offline.
Can you connect it to Google Classroom?
I think you can embed it in Google Classroom. I don't know if you can connect it to it.
Yeah.
But you can embed it within it. So you have a link to click, even if it won't let you embed it as a picture, because you don't have the formal purchase piece. You can get a link that they can click on, and it'll take them to it as a browser version. And everybody can get a Flipgrid for free.
I was just going to say the free version is the best.
Yeah, free version. They're awesome people too to work with. Like a year and a half ago when they first were coming out, I told them that I was using it for a training, and they sent me a code for everybody I trained that semester. Yeah. So they haven't responded to it quite so well this time. Like the last 2 times I've said, hey, we're doing trainings. They were like, that's great. Do you want some stickers? I'm like, no, I really want $65 coupons. But they've been really great to work with, and the feedback that you give them, they really try to incorporate. Hey, we've got less than a minute. If you guys want to log back into this, it'll be exactly the same link. You can just click back on. Yeah, that's very true, Eric. He says it works with iPads too. That's very true. We're going to lose this. It's going to kick us out in a very short period of time. If you log back in with the same link, we will, you're going to be able to get back into this, and I'll be right back in. I'm taking a screenshot so I know who was here for attendance. That's the best way to do attendance. I apologize for this. Like I said, they didn't give me the password to the new re-upped account. So I should have that for the next meeting that we do have. And you can come right back and talk to me in just a couple minutes here. Once it kicks us all out of here. Any other questions before they make us go?
No.
No? Well, if you don't want to log back in and talk to me about anything else, then it was very nice to meet you all, and I will see you in class this week. And like I said, I'll be grading, and if you do want to come back and talk, I have this, and then I'll come back in now, and then I'll log back in for open office hours in a little bit. And I'll be here immediately once it closes off. I'll turn it back on. But you're more than welcome to log in for office hours and talk about anything you want to talk about, technologies, things you want to do about class or anything like that.
Okay.
All right. Otherwise, if you want to leave, on the bottom corner it says end meeting. Usually on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you can click on that and go. And have a really great week.
You too.
Thank you. The password is